Hi there, welcome to the channel or welcome back. My name is Angela. Today I have a couple of things to share with you guys. I'm going to do a small fabric haul and also share with you guys my current project, which is a complete detour from what I had in progress. More about that here in just a minute. If you're new here, thank you so much for joining us. So happy to have you here. If you've been hanging out with me for a little while, thank you so much for sticking around. With that, let's get into this fabric haul. So that's what we're looking at today. And I also have another two-piece fabric haul to share with you soon. It's right back here. And then there's one more piece on the way. So altogether, it's only 5 pieces. This is the first garment fabric I've bought since last October. So I did let myself indulge. Let me stop yakking and let's get into this. I haven't even open this. I took it out of the plastic overwrap, you know, the shipping envelope. This might be a little noisy. I apologize for that. If you saw my community post, I did put the listing photo of one of these just as a little bit of a tease. But so here are the fabrics. Let me put that down. So the first one, this is the one that I just had to have. Orange is not a good color for me. It's one of my worst colors, but I loved this so much. And I'm going to put that listing photo back up here somewhere too, so you can kind of compare. This, I love this. It's a little bit oranger than I thought. The picture on the listing, it was a little bit more yellow. I've got some notes here. I didn't want to tell you wrong. This is a linen, and it's called Jungle Serenade in orange. So, you know, of course it's orange, but it is a little bit darker than the listing, just in case you were interested in getting a piece of this. But what I thought was that I have plans for this. It's going to be a pair of Claire pants. I enjoyed those Claire pants so much. I loved making them, love wearing them, that I thought this would be a fantastic second pair. But because this has so much green in it, let me bring it in a little bit closer. I thought I could make a top out of green, wear this on the bottom, and it wouldn't be so glaring that orange doesn't suit me very well. But if you look closely at this, there's all kinds of little animals on it. There's a little monkey, there's a deer, there's a toucan, there's a black cat. I don't know how well all that is showing up on here. And of course, foliage, the green foliage. But I do like it. I do wish it was a little bit brighter and a little leaning more towards the yellow, but I do still like this a lot. And it's one of those things that for me, if I were to make like a dress out of this, I think it would just be really incongruent with my coloring situation that I have going on. And in case you've missed some of the videos where I've talked about my color palette, I'll put that up here just so you can get an idea of the colors that like do suit me pretty well. Orange is not one of them for sure, but I just love this so much. So I think by having it on the bottom, it might fly. And then the piece that I got to go with it, this was it's a Japanese Dobby solid in olive. It was only 46 inches wide. I do have in mind a top to make out of this. Butterick 4550. I'll pop that picture up here. And this is what this fabric looks like close up. Let me bring it in just a little bit closer for you. It's got some texture to it. It feels kind of linen-like, though it's heavier than this. It's got some structure to it for sure. I think it'll do really well for the top that I have in mind. I'm doing, I mentioned butter at 4550, and I'll kind of crop out the particular top from that pattern that I'm going to use this for, so you guys can get a real good idea. So I think that these two will go together really nicely with all the greens in this jungle fabric. I think that'll make a really cute outfit. And while I do try to stick with my color palette when I'm choosing fabrics or ready to wear, every now and then I just have to veer off because I love something so much. That's kind of what this was for me, and I'm good with that, totally fine with that. And I'm going to save this other little fabric haul for next time, so stay on the lookout for that. But if you're interested in what I'm working on now, so I do still have a quick sew shirt dress that's in progress. I've shared a little bit of that with you guys, showed you the muslin. Then an opportunity came up. It's a quilt making opportunity. I am also a quilter as well as a garment sewist. I haven't made a quilt in several years now. It's probably been 3 years since I finished a quilt, thinking back. So I had someone interested in doing a t-shirt, 2 quilts actually. I'm not going to get into too many details because it's, I don't know if the person watches the videos. I do know her. It's not just like a stranger who found me and contracted with me to make a quilt. But her husband passed away some years ago at a very young age, like in his middle to late 40s, and it was a total shock to all of us. There was some extenuating circumstances around it. He was generally healthy. It was just a total unexpected situation. So she has hung on to all of his clothing all these years, and she's finally, at a point where she would like to have some shirt memory quilts or t-shirt quilts made with some of his clothing. So I'm doing right now 2 quilts for her. One is a t-shirt quilt. He was an avid cyclist, runner, all the athletic things he and she were totally into. So I am doing a t-shirt quilt for their son, who's a teenager now, and out of his athletic shirts. And the other quilt, I'm using his like dress shirts, polo shirts, button downs, a few t-shirts to make a quilt for his mother. So I've gotten some good headway on that, and I thought I would share with you guys the progress that I've made. And I have been sending her, she is in a different town than I'm in, different state even, and I am sending her progress photos. So she's not, so if she should happen to see the video, you're not getting to see it before she has, so to speak. So just out of respect to her. So I have the top side, or side one. There's not really going to be a top and a bottom because they're both going to be pieced out of shirts, but I've got the first side all pieced together for the first quilt, and I've used some of the dress shirts that she provided to me. These are all dress shirts, and also just a simple t-shirt, and then some polo style shirts here. And she gave me like a bunch of shirts so that I have a lot to work with. This quilt's going to be about 50 inches by 50 inches, and I just have it folded over right here. So kind of see that's the inside. And this is some stabilizer that I've put on the back of all the shirts. I'll talk more about that here in a minute. And then this is the side underneath. It's folded over. I think it's turning out really well, and I feel honored to be doing this. Frankly, I've never made a quilt, contracted quilt. I've made many quilts for family members, for myself, but never one that someone has paid me to do. So I'm really, honored to be doing this, and I hope that she likes the end result. Now the back side of the quilt, the shirts are going to be totally different. I'm using some brighter, lighter blues and greens. So it's been really fun to get back into quilting. It's kind of a simple quilt. The idea behind these quilts is not to create a use a fancy pattern or create a show, like a showpiece or something you would enter into a quilt show. It's to celebrate or memorialize the person who these clothes were, and, to honor the family members that the quilts are going to. So keeping it kind of simple and just letting the shirts or the fabrics kind of be the star of the show. And it's been interesting making a quilt using knit fabrics. I found a good stabilizer to put on the back. It came recommended by some t-shirt quilters that I follow or books that I've read, and it's a French fuse. So it's very interesting to work with that. And I kind of feel like the jury's still out on whether I would use French fuse again for a t-shirt quilt or a shirt quilt, or go with something else. I'm going to follow up once these quilts are done and I have given them to her. I will definitely go into a lot more detail on the ins and outs of making these quilts. So what surprised me, what went well, what I would do differently next time. So you might find that interesting if you are also a quilt maker. And that's about it for today. I thank you so much for hanging out with me in my sewing room. Next time I'm going to show you those other two fabrics, and I might have that third one here in house by then. So I'll just put them all three together and show you those. So I hope you'll tune back in for that. And until next time, take care.